It's time to reignite the romance, the passion. Are you absolutely tired of your relationship? Just feeling the same, predictable, no romance, no passion? You might be asking yourself, what happened to us? Like we used to be fill in the blank. And you're tired of trying some of the common things people say to do, and they're not working. And so now you've gotten yourself in a place where you're trying to figure out, how do I get that spark back? Well, you are in the right place because today we are going to talk about it in this video. I'm going to share with you intimacy tips that actually work. By the end of this video, you are going to have a fresh perspective of strategies that you can start doing today to bring back the spark. Hey, I'm Casey. Welcome to my channel. I'm a therapist and intimacy coach, and I am here to support and guide couples to having the most fulfilling, extraordinary, lifelong, lasting love in their relationship. If you're down with that, subscribe. Okay, so let's get into it. If you are trying to reignite the spark in your relationship, the romance, the first question I have for you for some self evaluation is, was the romance ever there in the first place? Now, this is an honest question that you have to ask because many couples come to me in couples therapy and they say the romance is gone, the passion isn't there anymore. But when we dig a little deeper, we discover they weren't a very romantic couple to begin with, or not in the sense that they thought they were. And so if you're trying to reignite something that was never there, we're going to have some challenges. So the first step that couples need to do is redefine what romance means in their relationship. That's what you need to do first. So how do you go about doing that? Well, let me break it down for you. Romance is a feeling. It is not a thing. It is not a gift. It is not roses. It's not flowers, tulips. I like calla lilies. It That's not romance. When you're trying to create romance in the relationship, what you're actually saying is, I'm trying to cultivate an experience and a feeling of closeness, of intimacy. Guess what? Newsflash, that's going to be different for every couple. So don't get caught up on your TikTok, your Instagram, your YouTube, your Facebook with this idea of what you think romance is supposed to be, because that is actually hurting couples more than anything else. I have seen couples argue about a TikTok where a husband spread roses leading from the front door to the bedroom, and the wife said, "You don't do that for me." He said, "We've never been that way. I didn't even know you liked that. That isn't our dynamic." But she felt like something was lacking in the relationship because what she's been viewing on social media is giving her another definition of romance. And when I really started to talk to her and unpack what romance feels to her, guess what? It's not roses going from the front door to her bedroom. That's not what she's looking for. She's looking for a safe space to share her emotions vulnerably and to be catered to in the things that she's interested in. That was romance for her. So once you complete step one, now you're on your way to really get away from some of these misleading tips about what romance is, because now you're defining it on your terms. The next thing I want you to do is evaluate all of the misleading tips that you have received about what romance is so that you can create your own. Let me give you an example. One misleading tip is that you just need to go out on a date every week. Couples that have weekly dates can create romance. No, they can't. Not necessarily. You know why? Because it can become routine. It can be something that's just on the calendar that you all share in your iPhone or your Google Calendar that you check off the list. It can be the same restaurants, the same activities. It doesn't mean that there is a close connection. So here's a new approach that I have for you. The new approach is to create surprise dates. Surprise dates are created 100% by one partner. What you're going to do is create an experience that invokes curiosity and youthfulness, adventure, things that the two of you have in common, things that you're interested in, but the other person isn't going to know. So, what you do is you tell them the time, the dates, how to dress. Of course, we need to be prepared. Do I need boots, sandals? Give them an idea of what will allow them to be dressed appropriately. And then you surprise them with the experience. Now, as an added tip, as you prepare for this date, don't prepare in the same space. Remember when you were dating and you couldn't see the person when you were getting ready to go out? Either they picked you up or you picked them up or you met there. There was some anticipation, there was mystery. And a lot of times that is lacking in long term relationships. You live under the same roof, you get dressed together, you see them from start to finish, even though that can be very appealing in some ways. In a lot of ways, it takes away the mystery and adventure. So get dressed at separate times if you can. Maybe you have separate bathrooms, whatever you need to do, switch it up because that is going to really inspire the curiosity and bring back this passion that you're trying to reignite. And then when you're on the date, I want you to talk about some of the best times you've experienced in your relationship together. Yeah, go back in the archives. Think about those days where you all laughed for hours, talked on the phone for hours, whatever it is that brings that closeness back, that memory. That's a wonderful way to bring romance back into the relationship. Or should we say, redefine it for this season of your relationship? You might be together 5 years, 10 years. Some of you watching this have been together for over 20 years. And you may feel like you're just really good friends or roommates. But that passion, that butterfly ish feeling that you used to get, you don't have that anymore. And part of that, another reason that that happens, is couples make an assumption that they 100% know their partner. When you naively think that you already know them, it does not create an opportunity for you to approach the other person with curiosity and want to learn them. How do you want something you already have? Think about that. You don't. There's no mystery, there's no intrigue. Now we have to create it because you're not the same person that you were 5 years ago in the first place. And so if you approach each other with some newness, with a desire to learn and understand who they are today, don't be bold and just think, I mean, I just know them. Yeah, maybe you know some of their likes and dislikes and mannerisms, and you can read their facial expressions, and you might know how they feel in certain situations. But guess what? They're still learning who they are, which means you can't 100% know who they are. And that's part of what brings that passion back in the relationship. Another great way to bring that spark back is to create emotional adventures. So this is different from the tip that people often hear is the way to spice things up is to try something new, right? There's nothing wrong with trying new things. But again, the issue with trying new things isn't always as effective if there are underlying issues in the relationship that aren't resolved. If there is unforgiveness, if there is hurt, just skydiving together is not going to bring the romance back to the relationship. So consider creating an emotional adventure. And really, what that means, because you can do this on your couch, get conversation cards or watch a YouTube video that talks about relationships and really ignites some very deep questions for the two of you to consider and talk about. And know that you are going on an adventure when you start to pour from your heart, because some of the romance that you're looking for can't be present if old hurts, betrayals, feeling unsafe emotionally are still present. It is very difficult to have romance in a situation like that. And so, emotional adventures, that's what I call them, it will provide you with a more structured and safe container to have some of these conversations. Sometimes you're not sure what to ask or how to bring this out in your person. Maybe you're looking at this video and saying, um, my partner is not open about their feelings at all. I'm the one who shares all the emotions, but they don't say anything. And so these like conversation cards, things you can buy on Amazon or at your local Walmart or Target, those really do the work for you. And they can create this very fun emotional adventure that you get to go on together. So consider that as a tool to create an emotional adventure. Now, the last tip I'm going to share with you about bringing passion and romance back into your relationship is something that requires some true self reflection. And that is, when is the last time you felt passionate about something that you were doing? When did you do it? Were you intentional about doing that? If you're not experiencing activities that bring you or connect you to passion in your life, it is really going to be hard to translate that over into your relationship. As individuals, it is our responsibility to kind of create that romance for ourselves first. You have to remember what that feels like when you light up, doing something creative, having that outlet, connecting with you. Maybe you need a solo date first. Maybe you need to feel connected to your own self love in order for you to cultivate that in your relationship. So remember, not all relationship advice is helpful and effective. It's important for you to think outside of the box, try some of these strategies that I talked about in this video, and really focus on bringing out the emotional connection and the authenticity in your relationship. So if there's some things that I didn't mention that have really helped you, I would love to hear that in the comments. Share your tips. I'd love to hear things that you have done to cultivate romance in your relationship. And if you try any of these strategies that I talked about in this video, definitely reach out and let me know. So if you enjoyed this video, please share it, subscribe to my channel, and come back next week because we're going to continue the conversation and we're going to dive deep into some more connection and intimacy. Thanks for watching.